Hey everyone, and welcome back to Urbex, the place where we explore abandoned places as well as dead and dying and thriving retail. I realize there's been a lot of retail news lately, and so I got to thinking, why not cover all the news stories? Of course, when they arise. So, when there's some breaking news or a lot of just things to talk about news related, then I can make an episode. So I'm not quite sure how often that we'll have a new segment here on Urbex. I'm hoping to do it maybe once a month. But if you like this new kind of content, then leave a comment down below with suggestions as well as give the video a thumbs up. And I hope you enjoy this new news segment here on Urbex.
All right, so I wanted to start today's episode off talking about Big Lots. Now, this is a story that's been kind of developing over the last few months. Back in December, around the 20th, they filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy and announced that they would be closing all of their stores. You can see here on their main website, they have all stores closing, now save up to 30% off. And I've been into some of my local Big Lot stores, of course, being here in Ohio, where they're headquartered and where they're from. We have a ton of Big Lot stores around here, and every single one of my local Big Lot stores are currently undergoing this store closing sale. And I've noticed that they're really not beginning to thin out as far as the amount of product that they still have. The stores are still pretty much fully stocked because, I don't think people really shop at Big Lots very often. And, with 30% off, that's really not that great of a deal. Now, if they start doing something like 50% off or more, they might start actually clearing out some of the stores a little faster, and they may start doing that in the near future. However, some good news has come out about Big Lots and the chain actually being saved. For those of you that might not have a Big Lot store in your area, it's like a discount store, a big box retailer discount kind of store. They sell inexpensive furniture, home goods stuff. They sell some groceries, seasonal related items. But we have an article here from USA Today that says not all Big Lot stores will close, that actually a deal with the Gordon brothers to keep up to 400 stores open is undergoing at the moment. So this says Big Lots, which filed for bankruptcy all the way back in September, and I heard news that they actually filed in December, so who knows. Anyways, they filed for bankruptcy a few months back, and the retailer actually announced about a week or so ago that they were in talks with a Boston-based asset liquidation firm called Gordon Brothers Retail Partners. This would result in the transfer of 200 to 400 Big Lot stores to the Variety Wholesalers, Inc. Now, if you're unfamiliar with who they are, they're a company out of Hendersonville, North Carolina, part of the Asheville, North Carolina metro area. And they actually own more than 400 stores in the Mid-Atlantic and Southeast region. In fact, they actually have some stores up here in the Cincinnati area in the Midwest under the Roses name. But they operate stores under Roses, Roses Express, Maxway, Bill's Dollar Store, and Bargain Town. And the idea is that they would absorb the Big Lots company, keep a bunch of their stores open, keep operating them under the Big Lots name, and actually save the company from complete bankruptcy. And that is fantastic. Awesome to hear. And actually, I heard just the other day, news came out that this deal had been finalized and that these Big Lot stores would be saved. But as of now, I don't know exactly which stores are going to be saved, because I believe on the Big Lots website, is my store closing? And they don't actually have like a list of which stores are going to stay open and which ones are not, are going to close. So we'll just have to wait to see on that. But in other news, Party City has actually filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy and recently began liquidating all of their stores. I've yet to go to my local Party City to document it, and I'm planning on doing that. I have been to it before and filmed there, but I kind of wanted to get some footage of some of these closing sales that are going on. And I have heard news that the same company that is saving Big Lots is actually going to swoop in and save the Party City stores as well, because really this is the largest party supply store in the country, and here in the Midwest it's the only party supply store, not counting big box stores like Target and Walmart, and this place specializes in party supplies. And of course during the holiday season, like Halloween, they switch over to mostly Halloween costumes and decorations, and it's pretty awesome. So that is Party City. Now, heading on over to the department store scene, we have some interesting news from Macy's. They're actually planning to accelerate 65 store closures this year, in 2025, and they're supposed to begin closing them relatively soon. I heard that they were going to begin closing them in January, but we still have yet to see a official closing list from the company themselves, and so it's mostly just speculations and kind of hearsay from store employees. But kind of think of your nearest dead mall or mall that is struggling. If it has a Macy's, that's probably on the chopping block. And, some of the Macy's that come to mind around my region would be like Pittsburgh Mills. That mall is completely dead, but it still has a Macy's. The one over in Monroeville, Pennsylvania at the Monroeville Mall, that one probably is going to close. I don't know, but amidst these closures, they're still planning on expanding their Bloomingdale's and Blue Mercury brands, which is kind of shocking. I guess maybe those are doing better than their Macy's brand. They also have said, because there's a bunch of rumors that the famous Herald Square location is going to close in New York City, but they've actually come out and said they plan to keep that operating as long as they possibly can. I mean, it is iconic, and it does make the company quite a bit of money. It's kind of like a tourist attraction, which I have been to that store and documented it. So if you want to see any of these retail videos that I'm mentioning, then make sure you're subscribed to the channel with notifications on. Check out the Urbex playlist, and for all of the member-exclusive videos, you can check out either my YouTube membership or the one over on Patreon. There's links in the description box below, and there'll be links at the end of this video. So, I'm going to try and go to some of these closing Macy's once I know the specifics of them and if they're close by. I recently got word from employees that the Macy's in, what was it? The mall that's up in Flint, Michigan at Genesee Valley, that one was going to close. So, or is closing. So I don't know that. That might be one I might be able to make my way up to, but that's all going to depend on funding. And right now, funding is very, very scarce right now. People just don't support my channel and the work that I do here. So if you want to drop some money down below, give me a super chat, or just head on over and support me on Patreon or through the YouTube channel membership, I would greatly appreciate that. It'll help me get to some of these closing stores to document them. Now, moving on to Dillards here. We have the Dillards that's closing in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, which I visited back in December. It's over at the, what's that mall? It's over at the Stones River Town Center, which is a very strange mall that, I think it's in a good location. The mall is, because they've got, 150,000 or so population in Murfreesboro, and it's part of the Nashville, Tennessee metro area. And there really isn't another mall for a good half hour. So I think they're just deliberately destroying that mall and demolifying it to turn it into some giant outdoor mixed use thing, because the Dillards is completely cut off from the mall. You have to go outside to get to it. But I did manage to go inside and film some footage of the closing sale. It was very difficult because I had security guards that just kept trying to, follow me around the store and harass me. But I prevailed and got some footage of it. So if you want to check that out, it's probably going to be for my members only over on Patreon and here on YouTube. Alrighty, now let's switch on over to some restaurants. This is more of a regional chain here in, I think, Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. And you might be familiar with the Bob's Big Boys, or the Elias Brothers. They used to be Elias Brothers Big Boys in Michigan, and the Bob's Big Boys were out of California, but we have the Frus Big Boys here in the Cincinnati kind of tri-state region, and they've been struggling horrendously lately, and it's very sad. Apparently, the owner of the Frus Big Boys have been neglecting to pay their rent and back taxes and all that kind of thing. So courts are just one by one forcing locations to just shut down. And we recently, you can see this is like a map of all the ones that have closed and all the ones that still remain. And if we zoom in here, they've lost, I want to say, around 20 of them since last October 2024. It's very sad, and I've just watched them close one by one. My nearest one is going to be up here in the Westchester area. So if you still have a Frus Big Boy by you, I know supporting them by visiting the location probably isn't going to help them stay open, but, definitely they have good food at, reasonable prices, although all restaurant food has just become outrageously overpriced for two people. To eat at like Big Boy is now $30. I mean, come on. That's supposed to be like a budget family restaurant. I don't know. Anyways, they also have an FC Cincinnati. Apparently, FC Cincinnati alleges that the company owes them $150,000 in unpaid sponsorship fees. So, I mean, this company is just racking up debt and not paying it back, and it's just not good. In fact, the Frus Mainliner, which is very historic and actually predates the Frus Big Boy name and restaurant, actually closed about a week or two ago, back in December, and unfortunately, all the museum items that were in that location, it had like a Big Boy museum, those locations went with to people throughout the company, which is really sad. I would have liked to see them preserved and put on display somewhere else. But at least we do have some good news. Over here, you can see the Frus Historic Mainliner sign that sits outside the restaurant, this sign that you see right here. And it's beautiful. I've documented it too. I've got video on the Frus Mainliner because I knew they were going to close, or at least expected it. So I went, about a week or so before they actually closed. This sign is actually being saved and preserved over at the American Sign Museum in Cincinnati, Ohio. If you haven't been to the American Sign Museum, oh my gosh, it's an amazing museum. It's not all that big, and they could really use a bigger place for some expansion. But so I'm not really quite sure where they're going to put this sign, because when I went, the place was quite crowded with all the memorabilia that they have. But they have signs dating back all the way from probably the early days of signs, like in the 1920s, all the way until like current times. And they have a ton of neon stuff in there. It's just incredible. Check out my video on that. That'll be in the Traveling Man playlist if you want to see that. Lastly, as far as restaurants go, I wanted to talk about TGI Fridays because they have filed for bankruptcy and have been closing down restaurants left and right, and who knows how much longer this restaurant is going to survive. Now, I recently ate at one of my local ones in northern Kentucky in the Cincinnati area, and the food was really good. I was surprised. Now, of course, all restaurants nowadays are way overpriced, and that's probably why we're seeing, so many restaurants just struggling right now, because the inflation and just the income to inflation ratio in the United States is just out of control. Our wages need to come up, and the prices need to either stay the same or go down. Preferably the prices need to go back to, what they should be. Because having to make a minimum of $30 an hour just to barely survive in a, basic budget home, it's insanity. And, a lot of people aren't even making close to $30 an hour, myself included. So I'm surviving by the grace of God, and not quite sure how I'm doing it. And I don't know. But anyway, so I visited my local TGI Fridays, and then literally like a week later, all the Cincinnati locations just abruptly shut down. So I think my nearest one is now over in Indianapolis. So just sad to see this, but that's going to be our news as far as all the closures that are going on.
Thanks everyone for stopping by to check out this brand new news segment I'll be doing here every now and then on Urbex. If you like this kind of content, then leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. Also, give the video a thumbs up. I'm also planning on doing a few news stories here and there on things that are opening, because I don't want everything to just be doom and gloom and all about all the stores and retail things that are closing. So yes, I will be sprinkling in here and there some new stuff, mainly that's coming to the Midwest region: Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, Michigan, Illinois, Pennsylvania, stuff that's around my area that I could travel to and go document when it opens. So check out the links on screen for my YouTube membership as well as Patreon membership to gain access to all the extra content exclusive to members. Thank you everyone for all of your support, and a big thank you to all of my members, and I will see you on the next episode.